Hi, Eric.
Hey Frank, good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. And thank you for making the time in your DC morning to chat with us about your teaching. So, if I can just jump straight in, as it were, and ask you if you could tell us a little bit about you as a person and what you enjoy doing other than teaching.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Besides teaching, which is, you get a lot of rewards from that. I enjoy art, making art, as well as looking in art. And what's
Yeah.
been nice about living in DC is there's a lot of institutions, like, for example, the Smithsonian Museum, which is
Mm.
free. So, have that access. So that's been really enjoyable. Also, the city, I've never lived in a city that has such good biking setup, so
Mm.
bicycling.
Mm.
They have like lots of bike lanes and
Yeah.
makes it really conducive, and also you feel safe, and also the geography is quite flat, so the
Yeah.
terrain, so it kind of makes it a bit easier than Hong Kong in terms of like traffic and things. So that's been enjoyable, and yeah, just trying to experience the region, and also a little bit closer to my family now, so it's nice to have that access as well.
I can imagine. And you've got your biking exploration and also your Smithsonian visits and other galleries. And as a teacher, do you feel that there's a connection between how you teach and that? I mean, in exploring on a bike and going to the Smithsonian, are you doing a kind of learning which you like to also promote in your teaching?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. I haven't really, intentionally thought about that, but in terms of, yeah, it's like giving yourself parameters, right? And
Mm.
then you give yourself a framework, and then you explore that framework, and you always discover something new. So yeah, it's a good example. Yeah, and the other day I decided to go to a particular trail I've never been to before on a bike trail, and like I don't know what to expect on that. And it was just like, and I've already been here almost 2 years, and like I was like, it was phenomenal, and there was waterfalls and streams, and just gorgeous vegetation, and so that was so enriching and so rewarding that that's kind of a good analogy. Like for a teacher, I guess ideally you want to set a certain set of parameters. Maybe the student has an idea, they're entering into that framework, but there's always going to be something unexpected that makes the experience even more richer. I think that's a really good analogy.
Oh, well done. Well, I mean, I think I might that might have been a good suggestion on my part, but you've explored it very well. So that you're thinking that in terms of the role of the tutor, that idea of encouraging self-exploration within the parameters that the tutor has got in terms of the learning objectives. That's a really important thing. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So that would probably filter into, aspects of learning to encourage, for me, like having that sense of like pleasure that's involved with learning. And
Mm.
so creating those conditions where the learner, enjoys it and creates a sense of enjoyment. So that's not just when they're learning during the formal aspects of the class, when they out in the real world, they can
Mm.
continue to learn and continue to be curious and discover things on their own. I think creating those parameters where the learner kind of, it becomes a self-taught learner in some ways as well.
Okay. So would you be able to, and this is a big question, but would you be able to define, at least for you, the role of the tutor?
I think creating, finding goals and parameters that work with the student, and achievable goals. Working with both the learner and also the parent to get
Mm.
some information, gathering information, finding the different areas that the student may be interested in. And you do
Mm.
that through conversation, you do it through games, you do it through observation, and you can
Mm.
also, check on their schoolwork, for example. But
Yeah.
just you kind of combine all of these things, but then you try to find parameters and frameworks. And then I think once you create those frameworks, then like I said, I was saying before, like it's almost like a bowl, an empty bowl. You present this bowl, and then what can you discover in that those parameters, and those ingredients. I guess maybe there's a lot of analogies. Maybe cooking could be another one. Like you find the ingredients and you put them together, and you can always create different dishes through those ingredients. And I guess the tutor also provides different ingredients for the students to explore too.
Yeah. Okay. So in that role, I know that there was a time when you were in Hong Kong when you had an unexpected part of your role as a tutor. Would you like to tell us about that?
I think you maybe talk. Is there a laser pointer involved?
There's a laser pointer in there, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know, laser pointers, you got to be careful, of course. You know, there's
Yeah.
that. So I was you know, I was an instructor at a school, and part of my role was to greet the parents and the children as they arrive at the school. And I was handed a laser pointer. I was like, this is curious. I mean, what is this? You know, what is this tool for? I'm not, you know, am I going to point at something or, you know, do some kind of like lecture with this later? But no, it was actually for my role. Apparently, I was to disperse the wild monkeys. So it was a location that was in a country park area of Hong Kong. And I realized that this was going to be part of my job description was to be in charge of dispersing the monkeys and just kind of shooing them away, you know, letting them move along with the laser pointer. And it was quite effective, but it was quite an amusing role because I didn't see that, you know, listed when I first applied for the job.
Yeah, no, that is a little unexpected. I think you've covered it already, but I've got a final question, and it's around the importance of the commonality in goals, or the sense of commonality in goals for the tutor and the student. Do you want to elaborate on that a little, perhaps?
Yeah, I think you want to. I mean, there's different ways you go about it. You have sort of the higher goal, or you know, a goal that you're working towards overall. But then I think each time you meet with that pupil, you want to create achievable goals that they feel like they get a sense of reward, or again, that also enriches that passion, like I mentioned before. And I think you could maybe think about it as we're working together to kind of create something, right? So I kind of use an analogy of maybe as an artist, you know, sculpting something out of marble. And so you have something that's a block, and then, I mean, you're not going to literally chip away for the student, but chipping away at the marble, carving away, it's like you're slowly revealing something, right? And so like each time something else is revealed. And I think creating those parameters, like we're talking about, frameworks where they get a sense of reward and discovery through the process. We're both going to enjoy that process. We're also going to both get a sense of a rewarding experience.
Yeah, and I really, really like the idea of seeing teaching as, you know, not only literally but figuratively an art, in the sense that you're engaging learners in a process whereby the creation is as much themselves as it is what they're doing. Yeah, but I think that's so important.
Yeah, and I think you can also, and it's like we're working together to gain that trust together. I think trust is an important aspect, connecting with the student. And it's not just in terms of like, we want to, obviously learning is the main thing that we're working towards, but also creating a thing where it's a relationship, right? And a lifelong relationship or a connection that they can take forward, and both the teacher and the student can always have for their life.
Yeah, and on that lovely note, I think we should leave you to the peace of your day. I hope you enjoy your spring. Are you in spring at the moment?
Yeah, it's springtime. There's lots of flowers blooming. I've never had I have an issue with pollen, but actually there's a lot of pollen out. So that's one thing that's like I have to be careful of, and you know, the new thing that I've experienced here, because I guess where I've lived before, there's always been sort of like I think the being near the sea is kind of like blown out some of the pollen, but that's one thing I need to be a little bit more conscious of here. But I'm adapting, I think. And but it's really beautiful. We just had the cherry blossom season, which was
wonderful.
really magnificent. And
Yeah,
there was basically Japan had donated, early 1900s had donated all these cherry blossom trees, and just an incredible explosion of these white and pink blooms. So that's been really
absolutely. So you've got the
magical.
yeah, I think you've got the classic sakura blossoms. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, the sakura.
Yeah. Okay, man. Leave you to the piece of your day, and lovely talking to you as always, Eric. Ciao, ciao.
Good to see you, Frank. Hope to see you in person again.
Yeah, indeed, man. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Have a good one.